The White House blames Iranian President Hassan Rouhani for starting a war of words with President Trump. President Trump is responding to those threats with an even more ominous warning, saying it could turn into a real military conflict. White House correspondent Mark Irons reports. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Lauren. President Trump's fury started when Rouhani said, quote, "America must understand well that peace with Iran is the mother of all peace and war with Iran is the mother of all wars." That was the first strike, and using Twitter, the president shot back.
A weekend spent at his resort in New Jersey is capped off with an all-caps warning from President Trump to Iranian President Rouhani. Never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. Today, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders is defending the president's harsh rhetoric.
Look, the president's responding to Iran, and he's not going to allow them to continue to make threats against America. If anybody is inciting anything, look no further than to Iran.
Addressing diplomats in Tehran, President Hassan Rouhani warned President Trump, "Do not play with fire, or you will regret." Relations between the U.S. and Iran were further strained after President Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal earlier this year. The president also ordered increased American sanctions. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says Iran's Islamic Republic resembles the mafia more than a government. He calls the country's religious leaders, the Ayatollahs, hypocrites.
They seem more concerned with riches than religion. These hypocritical holy men have devised all kinds of crooked schemes to become some of the wealthiest men on earth while their people suffer.
In less than 2 weeks, the administration will begin reimposing sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal. The White House says the president has been strong since day one in dealing with Iran, and his main goal is to keep the country from obtaining nuclear weapons. Lauren?
Mark, shifting gears, the president has been critical of people within the intelligence community, but now that he may revoke the security clearances of former U.S. intelligence officials. What can you tell us?
This came up in today's White House briefing. The press secretary, Sarah Sanders, says the president is exploring the mechanisms to strip security clearances from officials, including some of his critics. Former Obama administration CIA Director John Brennan, FBI Director James Comey, and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. The White House says they have politicized and in some cases monetized their public service and security clearances. Lauren?
White House correspondent Mark Irons will have more on that later in the program.